Hello, and welcome back to Tupcast, the Untitled Podcasters podcast, where we talk about movies and get heavily off topic in doing so. My name is Andrew. I am one of your hosts. Alongside me are my two co-hosts who appear in every other episode. We have Steve.
Hello.
And we have Colby.
What's up?
And after a unpredicted long hiatus, we are back, much to the amusement of our 5 frequent listeners. And we're going to talk about movies and things, and maybe, just maybe, we'll come across topics like Mark Wahlberg, or McDonald's, or dare I say Blade Runner. I'm not going to say anything else on that. Nope. So, the plan, Steve is sporting Wendy's here. I had Wendy's last night, actually.
Mixing it up over there.
I'm 2 weeks without McDonald's.
2 weeks sober of McDonald's.
I am. This is a. I don't know how to feel about this.
Well, it's like if I go to McDonald's, it's $20 for lunch, like because I get a meal, and it's $20 for month. Like it's crazy. And you go to Wendy's, you get like the $6 whatever bag you want, and you're out of there for $6.
Yeah.
So I will say that Cassie found a really good sheet for McDonald's. It's only good for one meal, but it's buying 2 6-piece chicken nuggets, because when you do that, it's 2 for $4.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get the coupon that they have for a free medium fry with a purchase of a large soft drink.
Yeah.
You get pretty much a 12-piece chicken nugget meal with a large drink and a medium fry for like $6.
Yeah.
So that's not too bad, but it's only good for one person. The next meal is another $15.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I started driving, my McDonald's meal, which hasn't changed, was $5.01. So I was like perfect. I could give them the bill. I had the change in my car. Now the same order I get is like $8.70.
Blasphemy.
Mm-hmm. It's nice. It's a good thing I have a small stomach.
I'm a double quarter pounder with cheese kind of guy, so it's always like $17, $18, $19.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I like my spicy McCrispy sandwich.
Nice.
It's like $15 or $16 for that meal.
Have you tried the like chicken? There's like a new chicken sandwich.
No.
You hear that static too, right?
Yeah, sorry, that was me, I think.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I turned my mic off because I thought someone was coming down, but they weren't.
They're coming.
Oh, they're always coming.
So did you guys watch Taxi Driver like we were supposed to?
I was gonna say at our last episode, let me find the list up here. We had gone through a list of a bunch of movies that we had not seen or thought we should have seen for us to see, and the number one on that list for what we decided on was Taxi Driver. I was looking for the other list in another tab, but I couldn't find it. So when we get into conversation, I'll check it again. So our last episode, which just went up recently, we had recorded, I think, in July, mid-July or so, was when we did this. So we had from July to today, as I'm recording this, is November 24th. So that's what? August, September, October. So we had 4 months to watch one movie. And of the 3 of us, Steve...
I watched it, but only about 4 days ago.
Right. But it's Colby and I did. I, being the last minute procrastinator I am, waited until this morning to watch the 11 clips that Movie Clips had put up for this on YouTube, which I think covered a good chunk of it. I also read the Wikipedia synopsis. While our dear friend Colby, want to tell us what you did for our podcast today?
I actually just looked it up on Google and found it came out in 1976, and that's all.
And I think you just looked that up.
Yeah, no, literally.
I saw his phone in his hand, so I figured that's what was happening there. Yeah. So our plan was to, and plan I mean back in July, was to have us watch these iconic films that are deemed as iconic, see if they still hold up to that, having not seen them since then, or only, watched them once and not really have much of a memory of it. We're going to try and do that, just not in this episode. As I mentioned, it's been 4 months since we planned that. While Colby and I have not watched Taxi Driver in its entirety, we have watched a lot of other things. We're kind of in a height of movies thing right now. I think we could talk about that stuff and do our thing with the rest of it too.
Yes. Sounds good.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I did mine 4 days ago, so I procrastinated as well. I just wanted it to be fresh, you know?
Hopefully, these movies don't end up on our, I have to say it again, our Blade Runner list. Because at the end of our first episode, we all said we were going to watch that for the next one. And here we are now.
Yeah, that was different.
Yeah. All right, here it is. I found the list.
I mean, eventually we should probably watch Blade Runner because I've heard it's like a fantastic movie.
We say that every week, though.
I know. I'm going to watch it one of these days. I'm going to surprise you guys. There's 2 of them. There's Blade Runner and then Blade Runner 2049. So I think a third one might potentially be coming out soon.
That'd be more of a motivation to watch them.
Yeah, that might help. I've seen about 15 movies instead of all those movies, though. So, which is nice.
So just the list that we had for movies that we were planning to rewatch. I have the order here. It was Taxi Driver. Then I had the list wrong. Colby. Alien was next on the list.
Original Alien?
I'm gonna assume so. It's 1979.
I actually watched that too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
All right. How about The Thing?
I have not watched that yet.
From 1982. Groundhog Day.
Nope.
This is such a diverse list. Schindler's List.
Nope.
The Pianist.
Nope.
Old Boy.
Nope.
Or Once Upon a Time in the West.
Nope.
Apparently Inception wasn't on this list. I had some memory that it was. That's okay then.
I think you were dreaming.
That's a reference to the film. I'm not getting it.
It is a reference to the film.
That's about as much about it as I know.
Yeah, yep. You're about 4 layers deep.
I've seen the film 3 times, and that's about all I understand of it.
Just dreams on top of dreams.
Something to do with dreams.
Dream.
Should we like talk about movies that we saw most recent and like work our way back?
Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah, because I gotta try and remember what I've seen.
Well, I saw Wicked yesterday,
and
it was.
I haven't seen it yet.
So I had 0 expectations because I've never seen the musical. I'm not a huge Wizard of Oz fan. Like I don't mind it, but it's not my cup of tea.
I get that.
And I was a little worried because Wicked Part 1, and it is Part 1, which they don't put in the advertising, but at the beginning of the movie, when the title screen says Wicked, in little tiny letters, it says Part 1. It was like they like shoehorned it in.
It was people don't want to go see Part 1s and Part 2s anymore.
No.
Yeah.
And then I was also worried because it was 2 hours and 40 minutes. Part 1.
After you give like your thoughts on it, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm the theater guy and I can explain questions you might have. I have seen the musical.
And I'm not like a huge Ariana Grande fan, and like Jeff Goldblum's in it, which I know people love him. He's not one of my favorites either. And I don't know, it just wasn't the people or what, like a musical. I'm also like not a huge fan, and I would say it was exceptionally good. It was like so well done, so well told. Like the singing wasn't like, they had their musical numbers, but you know how sometimes it's just like, all right, like why is this song 6 minutes long and they're just like singing by themselves in the rain and it doesn't fit. This was more of like they would sing and then like you get your dialogue and then you get more of the song. Like I appreciated that it wasn't just like dance numbers and like songs.
What I'm taking from this, from what you're describing, as this is how you properly insert a musical into a film while progressing story beats and not making it super random that it has nothing to do with the film. Unlike Joker 2.
Yes.
That's what I understand from that.
Yep.
That's a good comparison.
It's-
Go ahead.
No, it's definitely the better. So I liked Joker 2.
As did I.
As did Andrew. Colby couldn't stand it. But I will
We'll get to that later.
I will openly admit that Wicked was a way better musical than Joker. Like, it was just structurally just way better. It made more sense. The songs were like, you could kind of tell that they were coming and you were ready for them, even if you, like, I've never seen, like I said, never seen the actual stage performance. But like, you knew, like, this sequence is going to set up a big song number. But like, they were cool. Like, they were enjoyable. All of them were different. They were all in different locations. They were all done by different people. It wasn't like Ariana Grande sung every song in the movie. It was like different characters. There was a couple that you were like, we probably don't need this part right here, and we probably could have condensed it. But I mean, any movie over 2 hours, you're gonna find things you could cut out of it. But like, exactly. I wasn't bored. It progressed extremely well, and for part one, it had like a story arc, but you knew like more was coming. So it did a good job of that. Like, it's probably going to win some Oscars for sure.
Did you have anybody being annoying and singing in the theater?
That's what I was going to ask.
No, that's been a big
we had. So I go to like a small local cinema, which is only 6 screens. It's kind of like the one in Bridgewater that you guys go to occasionally. It's not a big theater, but they do a good job. They have, they have their 6 screens. They do the sound's all right. The screens are all right. The tickets are $6. Like, you know what you're getting. And whenever I go, opening weekend, middle of the week, 3 weeks after it came out, you're only ever in the theater with like 10 to 15 people, like max, because it's just like, a small local theater. But our theater was packed to the brim. It was full. I went at 3:30 yesterday on a Saturday. It was raining. So, like, I kind of get that part of it, too. And, like, this is a kids' adults movie. Like, it kind of plays both sides. And you couldn't find a seat. Like, so, but nobody was annoying. Everybody was engaged. Good. And, like, kids were laughing, and you heard kids laughing, and you heard kids like, wait, I don't get that. Like, you heard questions, but it wasn't like, let me dance in the aisle. Let me sing really loudly with the songs. Like, it wasn't any of that. So it was like the right amount of crowd engagement.
So I desperately want to see this movie.
I heard Cassie does too.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, with the movie, when it was announced that they were making it into 2 parts, I was not happy with that because, as you said, part 1 there is like, what, 2 hours and 40 minutes or something?
It's a short musical, isn't it?
The musical is not that long.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, God, like, they're going to ruin it. And Ariana Grande, like, I'm also not a huge fan of her. I liked her more when she was younger, but just how she's evolved, I haven't really followed it much. I think that Jeff Goldblum being cast as the Wizard was the best casting choice they could have ever made. Just from knowing the musical, like, and knowing the character, like, it was, to me, I don't know how his performance panned out, but going into it, I have high expectations, and I hate going into films with high expectations, but this is one that I'm not going to be able to control that for.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to worry about it though, because it really was well done.
I've seen like almost my entire TikTok feed is about this movie and everyone's saying how great it is, which again I'm worrisome because that does play a part in it. But also the guy who plays Bach in that, who is the guy with the weird hair, Colby, if you've seen the trailers, he played SpongeBob on Broadway. Like, he was the original SpongeBob on Broadway.
Yeah.
And I saw him like in that, so that was exciting for me to see him being able to move up in there. There's also a scandal going on between him and Ariana Grande because they're a thing now. At the start of this filming, they were not a thing. At the start of this filming, he was married with a child, so there's some controversy there. I don't want to say too much and be wrong because I don't really... I think of him a little less than I did before, and that bothers me. But I'm still really excited to see that movie.
Loves a little bit of spice.
Yeah,
spicy meatballs.
Oh yeah, my favorites. The idea is that the first part was Act 1 of the movie. The second part will be Part 2. Now, I don't know what happened in the movie, and I don't want to ruin things for Part 2, but Act 1 of the show is the witch's origin story, like how she becomes the witch.
Yeah, that's
Part 2
makes
is
sense.
simultaneous. It's like where the witch is at during the events of the Wizard of Oz, and it's very well crafted. I'm hoping. I guess they already filmed Part 1 and 2 back together, so
I figured they might have.
yeah, I wasn't sure about that, but I was hopeful that they would. So I was very happy about that. I was trying to find like tickets to see it the past couple nights, and every theater was sold out.
Yeah.
Like everyone. And then I was planning on going with someone else, which ended up not happening. So if I wanted to go by myself, I could have, but I didn't. So I'll see if Cassie wants to go some other point. Any other comments on that before?
No, I think
yesterday I watched not Taxi Driver, but I watched Contagion,
the like Matt Damon immune to the disease movie.
So my dad and I were watching the Andy Griffith show, and it was on whatever channel it was on. Contagion came on right after.
Contagion's like 3 hours, isn't it?
It was. I don't know.
I think it's pretty long.
With commercials, it was like that. Contagion. Let's see. 2011, but it was. It says only an hour 46 minutes.
I'm thinking. There's another.
You know what? You're thinking of the other one because they put it on right after it.
There's like another virus movie that's
with
like
the monkeys,
3 hours long, and yeah.
Yeah. But that was a very, very good movie.
Where'd I go? Oh.
I didn't. My parents and my sister had watched that like in like the month before COVID broke out.
Yeah.
So they were pretty worried. I didn't. I don't know where I was when they watched that, but I thought it was a very well made film. I enjoyed very much. I was engaged with it.
I remember liking it, but I was like, why is Matt Damon immune? Like it's just like one of those weird things.
Yeah.
You're like, Matt Damon is immune. Like, but it has a lot of good actors in it. It's like a lot of big A-list actors.
Yeah, and there were some moments where I was like, oh, like they sawed off Gwyneth Paltrow's head at one point. Like that was disturbing. But
what's in the box?
Yeah, so that's recently I watched that. I've seen so many movies on TikTok.
Just like fragments.
Yeah. How about you, Colby? What you been up to?
Most recently, me and Steve saw Gladiator 2.
That's right.
On Friday.
Yep. So to preface, I had never seen the first one until the trailer for this one came out. The trailer came out, and then I was inspired to go watch the original, which I did. But since I watched it, 24 years later, I didn't have that same allegiance or nostalgia for the first one. I thought it was a phenomenal movie. And it got me really excited for the second one. And I think the second one was also phenomenal. But like, I don't know. I couldn't really compare them against each other. I think they're both great movies. They're very similar plot-wise, almost identical plot-wise, to be honest with you. It's almost like they took the old one and they were like, oh, let's redo it for like the younger generations that haven't seen that one. Like, let's just do it again to up to speed with, the modern age or whatever. But I think it worked as almost a soft reboot as well as a sequel. I think it succeeded what it needed to do. I think it was well shot. The acting was pretty good, I'd say, overall. Pedro Pascal, I love him, so he's got my allegiance no matter what. But I thought it was pretty good.
Cool.
Now, how did you see the first one? Like, what format?
I watched it at home.
But like, did you stream it or did you have a Blu-ray or?
I streamed it.
Streamed it, because if you watch it on like TV or like TBS, they cut out all the good stuff. So I just wanted to make sure that you saw like the full extent of the original.
Yeah, I watched it. I think it was on Max maybe or Netflix.
Yeah,
whatever. But I did watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, so the first one came out in 2000, which I was 10 years old, and a 10-year-old boy just wants to see people get cut in half. So
Naturally.
this was like,
We can attest to that.
yeah, like that's just the wheelhouse of movies when you're 10 years old. You're like,
Yep.
how much violence am I allowed to go see, Mom? Can I go see
what's
Gladiator?
The most violence
Yeah.
I get away with watching.
So like I saw this in theaters when I was 10 years old, probably with my mom because she took me to whatever. She wasn't like a person to like hide me from violence, and she was like, well, it's historical and it's whatever. Russell Crowe's cool. Like, let's go see it. So I fell in love with it then, and it's been like, it's navigated my top 10 probably my entire life. Like, it's been up high, it's been lower in the top 10, it's middled, like, it's kind of been all around. It's just like one of those quotable action movies that like still holds up and still looks good. It's like one of the last practical movies too. Like everything in the first one, other than like some like when they show Rome, obviously at like a huge scale, that's not a practical shot. Like that's not what Rome looks like now. So other than that, but like the tigers, like the tiger sequences in Gladiator, like those are tigers. Like there's in this one there are monkeys, a rhino, and sharks, and none of them look good. Like
I want to comment on that real quick.
They are all CGI.
To preface this, there's part of the movie in this where they're in the Colosseum and they're having a ship-to-ship battle, which I will say is true. They used to flood the Colosseum, and they used to do water fights and stuff like that with boats and ships and stuff like that. So, like, that is accurate. However, I think, and I have not fact-checked this, I will put that out there, but I think the most unbelievable aspect of this entire movie, the whole thing, is the fact that during these ship-to-ship battles in the Colosseum, they had sharks swimming in the water around the ships.
Yeah, plural. There was like 9 of them. It wasn't like we got a shark and it was really hard to get. Like, no, they had like 9 of them just scooped around and just cutting bodies down. And so, yeah, it was a little, because like in the first one, he is the general. Like he is in charge. He is like the top guy, you know, under the emperor, leads the armies, that kind of thing. And then obviously, have you seen the first one, Andrew?
No, I haven't.
No. He Joaquin Phoenix's character, you know, takes over rule and wants Maximus out because Russell Crowe's character, because he's supposed to become the new emperor, or at least give the power to whoever he wants to give it to.
Okay.
And then he becomes a slave who has to like work his way back up to become a free man.
Okay.
But he like fights people along the way to like gain notoriety.
Okay.
And,
all right,
like,
I see, yeah.
And like Paul Mescal, his character, he fights animals along the way to get to where he, like, it was just weird. Like he had a big battle sequence with monkeys, and the monkeys did not look good at all. Like it just took me out of it a little bit.
Really
like the rhino was all right. Like the sharks were sort of minimal, so you were like, okay, ridiculous, but like okay. But the monkeys they really focused on, and you saw like too much of it, and you could tell that they were CGI.
Tried to make them too realistic and went overboard, and they almost looked like cartoony because of it.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Also, I just looked it up. I typed in where there's sharks, and the first thing that popped up in the Colosseum. And the first thing that popped up, it says, and I quote, "There were no sharks, ever, in the arena."
That's funny.
Didn't think so.
Well, in case you were unsure.
It's like so unnecessary to add. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The movie would be the exact same if that was not in the movie.
You know, people are coming after you for that stuff. You got to be prepared.
It's just so it was random.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
When you have a movie that's, and I would say relatively grounded for the most part, one weird random, like, why? What decision was made where you're like, we're gonna add some sharks. No,
I don't know.
weird.
But overall, I'd say it was like I enjoyed it. I had a good time. Like the action sequences were pretty great. I think the opening battle sequence was probably the best. So like they set the bar high, and then like I'm not sure it ever got back to that level, but like it tried.
Yeah.
And I like Paul Mescal as like a lead character, and you know Pedro was good. I think Denzel cooked. Like he was cooking in this movie. Like,
I forgot he was in that.
He was like he was just on another level. He like almost was in a different movie. Like he was almost like in Rome, but like in a almost like a Shakespearean way, where it's like modern day Shakespeare. You know what I mean? Like
Denzel's a big Shakespeare actor.
Yeah, you could tell he was just cooking though. Like he was like, I'm gonna have fun with this. I'm old. They wanted me to be in Gladiator, and I'm gonna be as cool as I can be in this movie because like that's just what I'm gonna do. And he definitely achieved that. Yeah, I had fun with it. I definitely will always like say the first one's better than the second, but
yeah,
I won't not watch the second one, and I won't not regard it as a good movie. But the bar is just it's tough in a sequel. There's very few sequels that'll ever live up to a
especially
classic.
with Gladiator. Like if it's well known, it's like I don't like how the past like 3 years every movie has been a revival or a remake or a prolonged sequel. Like I like original stuff, and I think it's cool when they have stuff like this, but not only to an extent.
Yeah.
Like we don't need a live action Moana when the cartoon came out like 4 years
or
ago.
Or a live action Mufasa.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know.
Like, yeah, but no, I get that. Last week, I think, Colby and I saw Red One.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed that movie.
It was a fun movie.
A lot more fun than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be very bad.
It's stupid.
But it's The Rock, but it was fun, yeah.
There's a movie podcast that I listen to called The Big Picture. And the title of their most recent podcast, which I haven't listened to, is Red One the worst movie ever made? and I'm just like, well, that'll be interesting to listen to.
So here's the thing. I've actually seen a lot of reviews and stuff where people are talking so poorly of this movie, which blows my mind because it's stupid. It is really, really dumb. The whole premise.
Who is going to this movie expecting it to be serious?
That's the thing. You're going to a Christmas Dwayne Johnson movie. You know what I mean? Like, you know what you're getting into. There's no bar that's set going into this movie. There's no.
There were some really random moments in that movie.
People are really hating on this movie, and I'm like, you guys, Joker 2 and Madam Web, and we're fine. But this movie, worst movie. What are you talking about? It's by no means a fantastic movie.
No, not at all. Not saying
it. This is like horrible, horrible, horrible cinema, and I don't get it.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, I don't think you go into a movie like that with high expectations.
No,
but I just saw the title and I was like, huh.
Like I'm not going into this movie being like, all right, it's got to live up to Gladiator standards.
This is Dune 2, right?
Well, how long is it? Do you guys know how long it is?
An hour. Yeah, it wasn't long.
So it wins right there because if you make a movie like that and it's 2.5 hours, you've screwed the pooch. But if it's 90 minutes in and out, like you gotta enjoy it at some level.
It's about 2 hours on, but it went by fast. Like
like I said, it's a goofy, dumb movie, but it's fun. Like you're not gonna be.
Right, exactly. It's a goofy, dumb movie, and that's probably how it was pitched.
I don't think you're necessarily going to be bored watching. You know what I mean? Like, I think you can turn it on and you're going to enjoy the hour and 40 minutes, 2 hours that you are watching it. Like it's not something that I would rewatch every year or whatever, but I think it's fine. It's one of those random Christmas movies. They come out with one every year. There's always at least one. It's a stupid Christmas action movie.
Yeah, last year was the one with David Harbour where he played Santa.
Violent Night,
yeah,
which was awesome.
That was out. I had a good time with that.
I love gore and I love violence, and that checked off all those boxes for me.
Nice.
It was 2022 that came out.
Was it?
Yeah, I just looked it up.
What was last year? Wasn't there like a banger Christmas movie last year?
Let's see, 2023 Christmas movies. Let's see. I have not heard of any of these. It's a Wonderful Knife. I remember talking about that one,
I don't
but
remember. I
never
saw
watched
that.
it. Yeah. The Holdovers. I'm trying to think. None of these look familiar to me, but
Was the Chris Evans, Dwayne Johnson team all right?
Yeah, it was fun. Like,
Yeah.
I think they had decent chemistry.
Yeah, that's funny.
Again, it's
yeah,
a
they're
stupid action movie.
right.
Yeah,
Like, you're not looking for much character development.
No.
yeah. I wouldn't. Yeah, I
You
wouldn't
get
expect
some,
it.
but it's like, yeah.
Huh.
You know.
I don't think Andrew saw it, but Steve, I also saw The Wild Robot. Did you see that movie?
Yeah, I
No,
saw
I
The
didn't.
Wild Robot.
I thought that movie was pretty good.
I thought, yeah, I had a good time. Amelia loved it.
I wanted to, but I just never got around to it.
She read the book, so she wanted to go
I
see
didn't
it
know
right
this.
away. And it's a little different than the book, I guess. I mean, according to her,
Yeah.
she's 8. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
Well,
they
she
usually
probably
are.
knows
Yeah.
more than us.
her
Yeah.
comprehension's a little suspect, so we'll see, I guess. I had a lot of fun with that one. I like a
Mhm.
good animated movie, and it looked good, and like it told a good story, and it didn't feel like a cookie cutter movie. Like it felt different, and it felt
Mhm.
original, and it was. I had a good time with it.
I didn't have any expectations going into it, but and I didn't even really know what it was about. I know I had seen the trailer previously, but I couldn't remember what the trailer was
So
about.
I saw that trailer like
Like a
I
year
don't know.
ago.
Yeah, but the first couple trailers, like there was no talking in it,
Mm-hmm.
just like narration, or maybe it was talking, but it was pegged that way. But I was really intrigued with the idea of it being a silent film.
It's not a silent film.
No, and I realize I see that now, but I was excited for that idea.
Well, that's like the funny thing about trailers nowadays. Like they're trying
Yeah.
to, like the Wicked trailer, they basically hid that it was a musical. Like there was no musical numbers in the
Really?
trailers. So
Because I mean,
if you don't know, like you could go into
I'm-
it and be like, "Oh crap, this is a musical."
I get a different algorithm because my whole thing is like, here's Cynthia Erivo singing this clip. Swipe. Here's Ethan Slater. Here's Ariana Grande. Here's Jeff. I'm like, no, get out of my feed. Like, I want to save it for when I watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah. It was kind of ironic. This is a funny story. Not really, but anyway. A couple days ago, I was looking at getting tickets to the movie to see Wicked, and I was talking to a girl on a dating app, and I found it showing, and I was like, all right, let me go send it to her, see if she'd want to go, and she unmatched with me. So I was like, oh well, good thing I didn't buy those tickets. So Jane, if you ever watch this ever blows up somewhere, just let me know what I did wrong, because I'm genuinely concerned. I ended up not going to see Wicked, but I think I'm going to see it Thanksgiving with my sister and my mom. So
Nice.
nothing else. I'll probably. I want to see it.
For Moana 2. Thank you very much.
I know Moana 2
Yes,
this
yes,
weekend.
yes.
That's very exciting.
I know.
The Russo household. So
Oh, I am so excited for that.
Colby loves that movie.
That's my favorite Disney princess movie.
Mhm. Featuring your,
The Rock.
I was gonna say, with our man, Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Wayne.
I'm not going to say I'm not influenced.
That would be a lie.
What else have I watched? I saw Conclave. You guys heard of that? Seen
That
that?
is-
Never heard of that one.
It's the Pope dies, and they have to elect a new Pope.
Okay.
And you basically get locked in the Vatican with the popes or the cardinals while they decide on a new pope. But like you get like the behind the scenes look at like what transpires during the process of electing a new pope, and there's like controversies and
Interesting.
backdoor dealings and stuff like that. But Ralph Fiennes is one of the main cardinals, who's Lord Voldemort, and Stanley Tucci is one of the main popes too. He's a really good actor. But it was really good drama, like a really straight-laced drama movie that I saw with my mom and 9 people over the age of 70.
Okay.
So it's like a movie for your grandparents, but I really enjoyed it. Will you guys see this movie? I can spoil the twist ending.
I probably won't.
Probably not, to be honest with you.
So a random cardinal shows up right before they're going to start the process, and he has like official paperwork that makes him a cardinal. So like
Okay.
he gets to join the voting process. And like over the course of the 5 days that they try to vote a new pope, he like basically all of the cardinals that were in the congregation are evil and do bad things in certain ways or just don't see the big picture. And he's kind of like, we just need to be nice to people and we need to have peace and we need to support each other. And so everyone votes for him and he becomes named the new pope. And then it comes to find out that the new pope that they're about to elect has both male and female parts. So the new pope will technically be female as well. So that's like a big sticking point of it because it's like the Catholic Church and the way they operate with like the male dominance of those roles and stuff like that. So it was quite the plot twist that you wouldn't expect in a movie like that. But I don't know. It was just really well shot and really well told. Okay. Like it sounds boring. Like I get that. And like some people will just not like this movie. But it was like very tense and like interesting, if that makes sense.
It sounds interesting. It sounded like at first like that A24, that Heretic movie with Hugh Grant that's out right now.
I also saw that.
Did you? I was intrigued. Like it looked good. I wanted to see that one.
So it's pretty good. I would say it has like a very different and unique twist on like the horror thriller genre.
Sure.
And then in the last 10 minutes screws the pooch and just becomes a horror movie.
Oh.
So it is good, and Hugh Grant is great as a villain.
Yep.
And the way he plays his villain is unique in that like he's a psychological villain. He's not gonna like slice your throat or hurt you, but he's gonna like talk you in circles and make you question yourself. And then that's more horrifying because it's also religion based.
Yeah, I know.
So like
I know.
It was a fun, like it was, you know, I think it's like a little over 90 minutes and it was enjoyable, but like, yeah, I've seen it. So like, I know how it ends. So it's like, I don't know if I'll ever have to see it again, but that was fun. Like I enjoyed that. So that was one I had written down.
I had watched like a month or two ago, maybe Greenland.
Is that the Gerard Butler escape?
Yeah.
To a bunker in the middle of nowhere,
like the world ending. Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah, it was tense.
I remember because I had seen like a clip of it on TikTok, and I actually went over to Hulu to watch it, and I was very like I like those like world ending movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't expecting. I wouldn't call it a happy ending, but for the characters that we got, I wasn't expecting like them all to make it to the end.
Yeah. No, I remember I watched that years ago, but I remember liking it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those like fast-paced movies like you can't look away. You just got to keep watching and keep watching and hope that like it resolves itself in some way, shape or form. Yeah.
I think the last movie that all three of us saw together was Venom. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
I liked it.
No, it wasn't terrible for sure.
But... I you know, this was the same. It's kind of the same as Red One for me. I wasn't going in with dramatic expectations. Like, I don't know. I thought that fight at the end with all the symbiotes was really cool. Like, I was very intrigued with that. You know, not saying it was a perfect film by any means. Like that family that was just there,
shoehorned in there,
served no necessity at all.
Also, that actor played the Lizard in the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Did he really?
Yeah, which makes no sense.
Whoa.
He's just a random father in this one, but he's the Lizard in the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield.
And in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, like, it's so weird that he never became the Lizard in this movie.
That is weird.
Also, we should have gotten Spider-Man at some level.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So, like, yeah, it's a dumb action movie. I think I'm on the level where now I vividly don't like Tom Hardy. I think Tom Hardy is a horrible actor. I don't know what impressions he's trying to do or the accent that he has, but the way he talks is not good. It's just like,
Why, you don't like the way he talks?
he's trying like 4 different accents at once, and he like mumbles half the words that he's saying.
Yeah.
And there's a couple lines in that movie that you can't actually understand the words that he has said.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, now it's like, what are you doing? Who are you doing this for? Aside from that, though, I think there was choices in this movie that made no sense at all. Okay,
I agree.
And this could be spoilers for some people, but
We're spoiling every movie we've seen here. So.
but the girl who her brother was killed by lightning, really weird.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That up at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And she's wearing his T-shirt the whole time, which is strange. All for the, and I know people are gonna say, "Oh, it's the payoff for her getting struck by lightning in the end," but like, if you still wanted her to get struck by lightning, just have her get struck by lightning. You don't need the backstory of it. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't add anything to it. I don't feel like emotional about it because I saw her brother die from lightning. It's a little strange.
They also set him up to be that shadow character that we saw like 3 times from the like behind his head, and then that doesn't pay off.
Yeah, they alluded to like this big government shadow agency, and then they're like, "Oh, also it's just this general guy."
Yeah,
he's just.
I mean, it's also super easy to break into Area 51.
Apparently, everybody can do it.
Well, they were to be fair, they were decommissioning it.
This is true. They were shutting it down.
So I'll give them a pass there.
Giant acid machine.
But like, they're also shutting down Area 51. How is no one else trying to get in there?
That is the MacGuffin from a 1980s like action movie.
Yeah.
They have a giant acid machine that melts things. What? Come on.
They would just blow it up. It would just be detonated and they'd call it a day. Yeah. No, I get that, but it is kind of fun at the end when they pull the acid and yeah, I know.
Yeah.
This one episode in Rick and Morty. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but where Rick has the whole episode is devoted to them they're trying to make a deal with some criminals or whatever to sell them something. And the deal goes sour, and Rick and Morty jump into a vat of acid. Okay, and it's fake acid. Now the whole plot of the episode is Morty saying how stupid the vat of acid is. And how Rick is defending it the whole time, saying, "Oh, it makes a lot of sense. The acid's really cool." And the whole episode devotes itself to trying to prove why the vat of acid is the coolest thing in that episode. It's 23 minutes. That episode sums up my thoughts of this movie. Why was there an acid shower? They're like, "Oh, we have these trucks from Area 51. Drive them underneath the acid." What are you talking about? It's so goofy.
And then that whole like him turning into James Bond.
Yeah.
To like get into the hotel.
We need to see Tom Hardy in a suit.
Yeah.
That was probably all him.
He also limped the whole movie except for that scene.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. Yep.
He like walked normal then, but he limped like the whole rest of the movie.
Mm-hmm. and then like Venom's like, "When I expose myself, they're gonna find me. Okay, I'm gonna go dance with Mrs. Chen now."
Yeah. And then there was just like Colby turned to me like 4 minutes into the movie and was like, "If this movie has to start with this much exposition, it's not going to be good." And I was like, "Yeah," because it literally starts with storyline, just like narration. It's brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Any movie that starts with 4 minutes of exposition, not off to a good.
Yeah,
start.
no,
You're heading in a bad direction.
Yeah,
not to mention too. What's his name? Null.
Yeah.
Null?
Yeah.
Andy Serkis.
It didn't do anything in that movie, and they're trying to set him up like
Thanos.
Yeah, that honestly,
Sony never makes another movie again.
Well, Craven comes out soon, so
yeah. Sorry, buddy.
Too late.
That was a good comparison, like a bad comparison, but like comparing what they did with Null to what they did with Thanos, because it was essentially the same thing.
Well, yeah, because
But
he was
completely different scales. Like I'm not comparing Null to Thanos in any way, but how they approached it.
They showed him 3 times throughout the film, and each pose was just him
He's sitting in a chair,
looking
like
at the ground.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't know anybody, I would even argue it's the exact same shot, just shown 3 times. I don't even think it was from different angles.
Could very well be.
Yeah, it might have been.
But it was just, that's one of those like baffling, like you could have just taken him out of the movie and it would have been fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, unnecessary.
It's just like how they had Michael Keaton in Morbius.
I forgot about that.
I mean,
there's your reminder, pal.
There's the fact that this movie is this bad and it's still better than like half of the Sony movies.
Yeah,
it's saying something.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people said they thought this was the weakest of the Venom trilogy. I would put it above 2, but below 1.
I think it's better than 2 for sure. 2 was really
I don't really remember them, to be honest.
I only remember the second one because it was the first one you and I saw.
That was
and I remember,
right?
And I remember
Elon Musk.
Sorry.
Venom 1 was the one with the evil Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carnage was the second one.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember seeing the first one once, and I was like, I liked it because it was better than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. They tried something, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But just not. I don't know. Tom Hardy might not have been the right guy for Venom.
Yeah.
He got
not sure who would be, but
I think they also probably should have gone with rated R.
Yeah.
I mean, they really should have dove into the violence of it.
Yeah, it gets. Yeah, they really screw the pooch with that too. Just like go for an R-rated. Like why? I mean, Deadpool, Wolverine crushed it, rated R. I know those are way better characters than Venom, but
well, I mean, I think that truly is what stems it all. Is I don't think any of the characters that Sony is choosing to make these solo films designate their own films.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them
this is true.
Be getting their own films to begin with. Venom, he's a great character in a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, nobody wanted to see a Venom movie, especially if you're not going to make it rated R. If you're not even going to do it right, why make it?
Right.
They're just like, oh well, you know, we gave Spider-Man away, so we have to make something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do we think that are we more excited for Captain America or Thunderbolts?
I don't know. I
don't know.
I think the trailer for Captain America looks better than Thunderbolts.
I like a lot of the characters in Thunderbolts, though.
I was gonna say, I think
Yeah.
the characters in Thunderbolts are more interesting than in Captain America, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like you've said 100 times, Marvel knows how to make a good trailer.
They do.
Even if the movie sucks, the trailers are always awesome.
We've been misled many times.
It's just I don't want to get my hopes up, but
maybe for because we've already gotten trailers for Cap and Thunderbolts.
Yeah,
we could try the Thor: Love and Thunder approach Andrew did for the Fantastic Four and not watch the trailers.
I'm so excited for Fantastic Four.
I am also.
I mean, yeah, that's the number one, but I don't know.
It's gonna be. You know what?
So here's the thing.
I think it's gonna be good. But
we know that Captain America 4 has been reshot and rewritten multiple times over. It's been delayed multiple times over.
Title changes.
We know that Sam Wilson's Captain America is not a character many people care to see.
Right.
So, and we know that as far as we're aware, that Bucky isn't in this film, and if he is, it's probably going to be a short cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things going against this movie.
And
I think the way that they shot the trailer is to emulate Winter Soldier vibes. And I think they nailed that.
Yeah.
However, I would also argue that Secret Invasion trailer gave Winter Soldier vibes.
Yeah.
And we all know what happened with that.
It did.
Have to stay optimistic about this.
Yeah.
But we need to be cautious because, like we said, they are really good at making trailers. But you can go see this movie and it could be another Eternals.
Well, what worries me is they recast. Obviously, they had to because the actor died. But they got Harrison Ford, who
doesn't care to be there.
Who doesn't care to be there? Who is old? who is great as Han Solo in Indiana Jones and in his movies, but like at this point of his life and his career, they were like, go get the most famous guy you can and put him in this movie so that people will come, but it's not going to be any better than anything else we've made recently.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried about the Harrison Ford of it all.
I mean, everybody who knows Marvel would know that he's going to be the Red Hulk.
Yeah.
But I still wish they wouldn't put so much of that in the trailer.
I don't think I would have known necessarily without that shot.
Yeah, and like that. Well, that's one because we've seen Thunderbolt Ross in so many other movies.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too, I feel like the Red Hulk is not going to be a huge part of that movie, and I feel like they're advertising it like he will be.
I think it's going to be like the final battle.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like he'll have some breaking
the last,
point.
4 or 5 minutes of the film, and then that'll be.
I don't know anything about Red Hulk.
I just know that it's Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, that's it. But I don't know, like, how does he become Red Hulk? Why is he red and not green?
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't know any of that stuff.
I think there's a line in the trailer is like, isn't he supposed to be green?
Yeah.
Imagine. So, from what I noticed in the trailers, because I've seen it so many times going to the movies, is there's a couple shots in the trailers where it looks like Sam Wilson has super soldier strength.
So that's been a debate.
There's a couple scenes where he does some things that he probably would not have been able to do. So I'd imagine it has something to do with that. However,
yes,
I'd imagine Harrison Ford gets it.
There's a big debate over whether Sam takes the serum or not. I don't think he will because that was a big part of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But I think that he's getting a new suit that might make him capable to have those abilities.
Because he does some weird things in the trailers.
He does, and I know what you're referring to. So,
but there's a line where he goes, "We got to make Captain America an official position." So, like, maybe to be that position, you have to be a super soldier. Like, maybe that's part of it, and like he doesn't do that for half the movie, and then the Red Hulk appears and he can't beat him, so like he has to take the serum. Like, I don't know, it could be something like that.
I do want to state that, kind of related to this, I attempted to start a Phase 4 Marvel rewatch.
Oh.
Something I haven't really watched since they came out, with the exception of a couple of them.
Do you have to do it like tied to a chair or?
So I rewatched WandaVision.
The whole thing?
The whole thing.
I actually liked that.
It was a good show.
I like
that one. You can rewatch that. I've rewatched it
a little bit less than I did the first time.
Interesting.
I think it's because I don't have the anticipation of what's coming next. I already know how the show plays out.
Yeah.
So I'm not like, I think what helped that show the first time, which made it so great, is that everybody was speculating on everything every time an episode ended.
Yeah.
I think that really helped that show. I think without that show kind of falls flat a little bit because you know exactly what's happening. You lose that mystery element, the what if element of it. But I also rewatched Falcon and Winter Soldier. It is a really, really boring show. Okay?
Yeah, it's ground level.
Character development wise between Falcon and Bucky gets almost none.
None.
He gets his resolution about the Winter Soldier program and all that stuff, which is fine.
He gets his arm ripped off, right?
Yeah, it's just
he
doesn't do much in that show. Falcon, go
ahead.
He clearly doesn't in the show. He doesn't want anything to do with the Super Soldier or Captain America or anything.
No,
it's him resisting it the whole time up until like the last episode, and then he gets it, and it's neat, kind of. His suit's not that cool, and then he has this really, really cheesy bad monologue for like what feels like 3 minutes at the very last episode to a crowd of 14 people, and it just. I see where they were trying to go for it, but it doesn't make me want to see more of these characters. Like, I feel like it kind of killed it. Like, I don't need Sam Wilson anymore. He's done. If he's not part of a team, I don't need it. But I definitely rewatching that doesn't make me excited to see him again, even on a big screen. Like I've
said regarding Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The name of the show is Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but at the very end of that show, they do a title card that says Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which one has already been the best movie Marvel produced, arguably. But also, why not make it like give Bucky more and make it Captain America and the White Wolf? Because the whole game of Bucky in that show was to clear himself of being the Winter Soldier. But now they're bringing him into Thunderbolts probably as the Winter Soldier, so...
But those trailers make it seem like he's on the outs.
Yeah, you're right.
Because he attacks them at first. So, like, I'm curious about that.
I have to rewatch it, but yeah.
Like,
I am interested.
Because he seems... They're like, is that Bucky? Like, it's like he's on the outs. Or like he hasn't been seen in a while, that kind of thing.
Who the hell is Bucky?
Yeah. I mean, I hope we're going down to like a 2 or 3 movies a year and maybe like one show, if that, if it's worth seeing.
Yeah.
They've come out and Kevin Feige's made some announcements that they are dialing back on a lot of their projects, and a lot of their projects are being revised and kind of dwindled down and properly, hopefully, being written and filmed because of all the backlash. Marvel and Disney is well aware of the backlash. They can see it in their wallets.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it's a shocking surprise that people haven't been liking their movies for several years, with the exception of, you know, like Spider-Man and stuff like that. So I think the next couple movies, with the exception up until Fantastic Four, we're still working through the pipeline of old Marvel. Captain America 4 and Thunderbolts is still the old Marvel. I think we should expect failure and hope for greatness with these movies. I think Fantastic Four, since they're hopefully went into filming and production of that movie knowing the backlash, and they would have revised a lot of this stuff, that hopefully that would be the new stage of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
For the Fantastic Four, like what I've heard, I hate to say I'm excited because I don't want to be disappointed, but I am excited for it. The plot is supposed to be like they're from the 616 universe that we have, but like they got lost back there in the 60s and they've been trying to get home to the 616 universe, which is an interesting concept. I also read that today that the Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland got pushed back. It was originally supposed to be slated for July of 2026. They moved it to December of 2026. And I'm wondering if that's having to do with the fact that Tom Holland's going to be in the new Christopher Nolan movie that is supposed to be released that same month.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because those Chris Nolan movies take a long time to film.
Yeah.
And they're usually pretty big at the movies.
Right.
You don't really want to release your movie the same weekend as that.
No.
Except your Barbie.
Yeah.
Except Barbie.
Your Barbenheimer.
Yeah.
That was a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. That was, yeah.
They're trying to repeat it right now with Gladiator.
With Wicked, yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
I don't think it'll ever be that. It'll come close because I think Wicked will crush, and I think Gladiator will do well. But
yeah,
isn't Fantastic Four? Is it called New Beginnings?
First Steps.
First Steps. Okay,
yeah.
I knew it was something like.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that it matters, but yeah, I think they're trying to do like a soft restart.
And with that First Steps, like what Jacoby just said with the new characters, First Steps is an implication at something new.
Like I said, I think they're well aware of their issues, and I think they are really trying to fix where they went wrong.
Do you think we're getting RDJ Doom in this one?
I don't.
No.
I think maybe, if anything, a post-credit scene of Fantastic Four.
Or like a last second see at the end of the movie.
I don't think we're going to see him in this at all.
Yeah, I don't.
think that they are going to wait until the perfect moment to first reveal him. I wouldn't even be surprised if we don't see him until whatever movie comes out right before the next Avengers movie.
Which I think is supposed to be Thor 5.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that would be where his first appearance pops up as a post-credit scene.
Let me see if there's a timeline up for
it. I know there's a comic book run of basically Iron Man, Doctor Doom crossover, like we're kind of getting with RDJ as Doctor Doom. So I'm sure you could look into that and probably figure it out, basically. But yeah, based on my knowledge of it, I haven't heard that he's gonna be. But like, is Galactus the bad guy? Or no, Silver Surfer. Four? Silver Surfer, right?
For the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, First Steps.
Both. Galactus is gonna be, and Silver Surfer. I don't know if it's gonna be female Silver Surfer.
Yeah, it's Julia Garner.
Yes, that sounds right.
Who's really good. She's a good actress.
Yeah, I like the approach of it.
Yeah, why does it doesn't matter if it's male, because Silver Surfer is kind of supposed to be, I mean, it's a person made out of metal, like,
right,
it doesn't matter ultimately. It could be boy, girl, he, she, them, it doesn't matter.
I think with Galactus, if he is the villain in this movie, they need to really make sure that they don't do the Eternals approach with this really stupidly powerful beings that ultimately do almost nothing, and then the movie ends and you kind of forget about that it ever existed.
Yeah.
As long as they don't do something really bad like that, I think it could be cool.
I'm hopeful. And I know literally nothing about Galactus except that he's a galactic being. I don't know, he's huge. He's supposed to destroy worlds. But he's one of my favorite villains that I know nothing about.
Yeah.
So the guy, I've said it to both of you, the guy who's playing Galactus just has such a creepy voice that it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Doom is the one that I know a little bit about, but that's the one, I feel like it's one of the last villains I'm excited for. And
I'm interested in the approach because if I'm understanding correctly from like the Fantastic Four like origin stories, is they get their powers with Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be on that ship.
Well, yeah, because Doctor Doom and Mr. Fantastic are like best friends. Like before they become those,
right? They're respected heroes.
Yeah, they're like the Hulk and Iron Man, where they're like smart scientists that work together, kind of thing. So I'm assuming, yeah. I mean, I don't know, but that's how it was. I remember in the other ones that were terrible. That's how it started.
The one from 2005 isn't bad.
The one with
Chris Evans and Jessica Alba.
It's not bad, but it's like slapsticky comic book movie, and you're like,
I think for its time it was good.
Yeah.
The sequel is not. The sequel to that is bad. It has my favorite Stan Lee cameo of all time, but it's a bad movie.
That's like the Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan one, right?
No, the sequel they made with Chris Evans and Jessica Alba.
Oh, the Silver Surfer one.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The one with Michael Jordan, and I never watched that, and I have no desire to.
I only watched like half of it, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
But what about that new Superman movie? Is anybody excited for that?
I know literally nothing about that.
No.
It's the James Gunn Superman?
That's about all I know.
Nope.
They apparently announced this week that his dog will be a main character as well. Like Superman has a dog.
Yeah, you know what? I read that somewhere.
I don't know. I'm excited because like Guardians came out of nowhere and was like very cool.
Right. And it's, you know what? I'll give you that because even with the Suicide Squad, like that was a fun movie from James Gunn and Peacemaker. Like
DC needs to earn our trust.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But we're starting over, so I'm hoping so.
They're in the same boat right now that Sony is in. They need to earn us back with some good movies. If Superman comes out and it's fantastic, awesome. I'm back. But until that happens...
I won't be back until I get like 3 consecutive good ones.
Until that happens, proceed. I have no expectations for the DCU. I don't care who's at the helm of it. Suicide Squad was great. Peacemaker was great. That's awesome. Guardians was great. But I'm not holding my breath for this.
I'm looking forward to it. In its own way.
It's kind of like, because right now, like, as I thinking about it, I think like myself, like, I feel like when I go to see this movie, I'll be sitting in the theater, like, expecting to hate it so much that I won't like it regardless. And that's how I've sat in on some movies beforehand, like, if they get really big, like, that's how I'll be with Wicked. Like, I'm going to be afraid I'm not going to like it.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure 10 minutes into it, I'll be happy. But like, I still feel like that's gonna happen, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest Superman fan. Like, he's never
No.
been like DC is Batman. Like, that's kind of all I care about
Yeah,
on that side of
right.
DC. But I'm looking forward
I
to it
liked
because of James Gunn and because I don't know, but I liked Henry Cavill. Like, I thought he was a good Superman. So
they had
it'll be weird.
they had the perfect cast with the exception of Ben Affleck
Yeah,
for the Justice League.
yeah.
Like Henry Cavill, Wonder Woman, what's her name? I'm blanking on it.
Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, even Idris Elba, whoever, it's a Flash dude.
Ezra Miller.
Yeah, not Idris Elba. Definitely not him.
That's a very different
And
Flash.
whoever they had for Cyborg, like they were great choices.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think
just
that
terrible execution.
I think the only thing they did well was casting, for the most part.
Yeah. I don't who made Ben Affleck Batman. Whose idea was that?
I don't think they work there anymore.
Yeah, probably not.
Nope, they brought Kraven the Hunter to the screen.
I don't know if any of you guys were into the Arrowverse shows.
No.
Never watched them.
I watched The Flash for like the first 5 seasons, and it was really good. Like the universe like Supergirl, I liked Supergirl. That was a good show. I never got into Arrow. But they have Superman and Lois out now, and it's in its last season, and it's got like 2 episodes left. So at this point, it may even be over now. But I watched, and their Superman and Lois is slept on. It's really good.
Yeah.
The CGI is terrible, but it's because the
WB
CW
show, isn't it?
It's
CW,
the
whatever.
Yeah, like I think after the show ends, the CW might just be disappearing.
Bye.
Yeah, it's just like bye.
Swan song.
But like their last season, like they really hit it really well from what I've seen so far. They're doing the Lex Luthor storyline at the end here with Lois Lane. And I don't know if this is like the comic version of the Lex Luthor story, but in the show what they're doing is she ran a story about Lex Luthor, Lois Lane did, at the Daily Planet. I think that's where they work.
Yep.
Not to be confused with the Daily Bugle. Like, I don't know.
They're very different.
Close enough.
Yeah. Wrong universe, sorry. And whatever story she puts out, he is not factually correct, or like he accuses her of being wrong and stuff, and then I don't know if he finds out that her husband is Superman or whatnot, but this last season, like I haven't watched the first 3 seasons, but I've been watching the last season because of how good it's been so far.
Nice.
Yeah, and you can't say that much with TV superhero shows. So
no, that aren't streaming.
Right, exactly.
Like it's like TV.
It's a network TV. Yeah.
Huh.
Did any of you guys see Beetlejuice?
Yeah, I saw Beetlejuice.
I did not see the second one. I saw the original one in preparation to see the second one, which never happened.
I did a back-to-back. I had never seen the original.
I hadn't either.
I watched the original the night before at 11 o'clock and went to an 11 a.m. showing for the second one. Like, within 12 hours, watched both of them.
What happened with Beetlejuice is what happened with Wicked to me. I was watching the first Beetlejuice on my phone on the way home from Maine with the anticipations of seeing it on a date that night, which never happened.
All right.
It must be a me thing. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I don't think it's you. I think maybe mini golf is more your speed, though.
I hate movie dates for a first date.
Or bowling.
I think that's maybe try mini
bowling.
golf.
Bowling.
Billiards, perhaps.
Well, if they would. Mm-hmm.
Or like a Dave and Buster's is like a good icebreaker.
I think so. Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. Look at the Beetlejuice thing. Wasn't my idea. Wasn't her. It was hers. The Wicked idea never came to fruition, so it's all right.
Yeah, I did the same thing as Colby did. I knew the lore of Beetlejuice, but like never cared to watch it. I was like, let's throw on Beetlejuice. So like I knew Kate loved Beetlejuice. She wanted to see the second one. She never wants to see movies. So like for her to recommend it, I was like, well, I got to watch the first one. Like I can't go into 2 without seeing 1.
Yeah.
And I watched 1 and I was like, why isn't Beetlejuice in this movie? Like
I did the same thing.
Yes.
Beetlejuice is
Yes,
only
me too.
in like the last half hour.
Like 8 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, why is this called Beetlejuice? This should be called Alec Baldwin and whatever her name is. Like,
I
Yeah.
had no idea that Alec Baldwin was even in that movie. And for the first 15 minutes, I didn't even know it was him.
yeah.
I saw it in the credit, like as the movie was starting, it says Alec Baldwin. And we're like 15 to 20 minutes into the movie, and I'm like, so who's Alec Baldwin? And I'm like, oh my God, that's him? I had no idea.
Yep.
Mind blowing.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I was waiting for Beetlejuice to pop up the whole time. And then it's like 35 minutes into the movie before you see him for the first time.
Yeah.
But I thought I thought the second one was like a whole lot of fun because he was in it more, and it was like goofy and slapsticky.
I never saw it. So
it was I enjoyed the second one. I mean, the first one's not terrible, but it's just
No,
not
no,
a Beetlejuice movie.
No, I agree. I had no allegiance to the first one. I kind of liked the second one better because I thought it was just a little bit more fun and goofy.
Yeah,
right. Sorry,
it was a little ridiculous, but like that. There's a part where this one of the I don't even remember her name, but it's like Beetlejuice's wife, and she like is locked in a bunch of different boxes, and like the boxes open, and her body like reassembles. That was cool. I was like, that's pretty sweet. But other than that, I don't remember anything else.
She literally eats Danny DeVito.
Yeah, she does.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
She eats his soul.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a fun watch, but like
I'll get around to it when Beetlejuice 3 comes out. So
I know,
and I probably won't see that one.
We briefly mentioned it earlier, but we should probably talk about Joker 2.
I was gonna bring that one up. Colby, why don't you start us out?
All right.
So everybody hates this movie. Me and Andrew are on the opposite side, which is rare.
The only movies that I think
pretty
are
much on the opposite
worse
side often
than this movie are Morbius and Madam Web. I think this is bottom 3 movies of all time. It was so long and so boring, and I hated every waking minute of it.
So, Colby, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
If this movie came out before, or just this one, if this wasn't a sequel, if this was just a one-off movie, Joker Folie Dukes with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga, there was no regular Joker, would you still be saying the same thing?
No.
Okay. Continue.
This is a horrible sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible sequel. It has little to nothing to do with the first movie, except for the whole idea is him dealing with the repercussions of his actions in the first one, which it sounds like a big deal. Like, it sounds like, oh, well, that is the whole, it has a lot to do with the first movie. Not really, because 90% of it, they don't even really reference it. He has it's like, it's trying to be a musical. It's trying to be an artful studio house film. It's trying to be a courtroom drama. It's trying to be like 4 different things at once, and it doesn't succeed at a single one of them in their own right. Okay, the courtroom stuff is boring, it's weird, and as you're watching it, obviously this is a make-believe universe, and it's not supposed to be grounded or real, but half the stuff that happens in the court, you're like, there's no way a judge would let that slide. He's like, I'm going to dress like a clown and wear makeup? Absolutely not. That would never happen in real life. Okay? No way. Secondly, we talked about this with Wicked. The musical aspects of this movie have nothing to do with the plot of the movie. It doesn't propel the plot. It doesn't add to the plot. It doesn't even propel where the characters are in a mental state. Like, they're literally, it's supposed to be like the characters are insane, so like they're imagining it in their heads or something or whatever. But it doesn't make sense for this movie, especially where the first movie was not a musical. If the first movie was a musical and it did the exact same thing and this one just followed suit, that would make sense. But this is not a proper sequel to the first one. And truth be told, I didn't love the first one when it came out. It grew on me over time. Watching this one made me hate the first one more. It makes me hate that it exists to allow us to get this. I hated it.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
No,
I
you
don't-
go. No,
I
I'm
wanted
good.
no. I just if I wanted him to let it all out there. I liked it, but I also did not see the first Joker,
I think that helps. That helps your case.
and I have not seen it, and I had every intention of watching it, but I didn't. Just like Taxi Driver, but what I liked about the musical aspect is that they used real songs that are already out, because I think it added more to his character thing, like using because it was was supposed to represent what was going on in his head, and where they had it out as like they used like the Temptations songs from them, just a lot of the songs for a lot of Frank Sinatra was in that, and I like that choice of using that instead of having it be original music. I think if it was original music, I probably would think a little less of it than I do. And I mean, I also obviously they were a lot out of place, but then like if it was that was supposed to be part of the message, I think, of how he was so mentally unstable, that he could just break out into song at random points here. But I also, again, as someone who didn't see the first one, I could tell a lot of it was based on the events of the first one, but I was still able to follow it pretty well. So it does that where it stood alone perfectly fine for me. Not saying it was perfect. Like there were moments where it dragged on. There were moments where I felt some songs were not necessary, but I did appreciate it a lot more than the vast majority.
Yes, I see.
Yes, well, thank you.
So I saw the first one
But that's just my opinion.
in theaters, and I really enjoyed it. But I also remember being like, it's so dark and dreadful. Like, there's no sunshine in this movie. I'll probably never watch it again. Or if like I do, it'll be in like 10 years when I'm like, I don't really remember that. I remember kind of liking it. Like the third one's coming out or whatever, and I'll go back. I wasn't thrilled by the idea of it being a musical because it just didn't make sense, really.
Yeah.
And then they signed on Lady Gaga, and I was a little more interested because like she is talented, and like
I think her as Harley Quinn was awesome,
and
like that was a great casting choice.
Yeah, and she's talented, and she's also kind of weird, so like that makes sense because that's Harley Quinn,
like
and
the
like
costume changes,
and that was fine. But like, I don't know, I felt like the movie just like propelled itself through, and I just kind of enjoyed it for that. But I definitely think they didn't utilize Lady Gaga to her full potential, which was like a huge misstep. And it was hard to tell when we were seeing like Joker and Arthur Fleck a lot of the time in that regard. But it was also another movie where I was like, I had fun with that. I'm glad I saw it on a big screen because it had the musical aspects, but like I'll probably never watch it again because it's just miserably dreadful. And he's dead, so like, how do you make another one? Like,
I really thought that I don't want to come off completely negative about this movie. There is one really positive thing I did enjoy about the movie.
That he got killed and make another one.
He's dead.
He died at the end, and we'll never see another one.
They'll do a prequel.
Oh, you innocent boy, you sweet innocent child.
I swear.
They can just retcon that and say that was the only part that he was dreaming about.
Yep. Because I thought, and I may have said this to the both of you, I thought at the end of that movie, when like after the court was over and he's back in the prison cell and he's watching whatever they were watching on the TV, like it was panning like it was a brand new day. I thought that they were implying that the whole movie happened in his head. And I was like, that would have been
so much better.
And then he gets up and gets killed.
It wouldn't have made it a better movie, but it would have made more sense.
I mean, I kind of want to know who wanted to talk to him.
Nobody did. It was just a setup to get him killed.
Oh, okay, I wasn't sure if it was like he actually
was in on it.
Yeah.
All right.
He's my favorite actor in the movie.
Brendan Gleeson.
Sure.
Was he beat up or was he raped by the guards?
Okay. I thought he was beat up, but the internet says differently.
I thought he was just beat up too, but
Yep.
everyone talking about it is like, oh, he
They
was
was saying,
assaulted, and I was
yeah,
like,
it was like, I'm like,
I don't know, maybe.
I think I saw someone take his belt off, but I thought that was to whip him.
Yeah, I don't know.
So-
Maybe we were blinking at the wrong times in the movie.
It's
Maybe.
potential.
We missed a couple things.
Missed a little shot of,
Yeah.
that. I'm not going to get into that,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I mean, my eyes were closed 90% of the time because I was sleeping.
I sat next to him. I can, yeah.
Like I said, I'll never probably see either of them again, but I
Yeah.
enjoyed them while I was at the theater watching them.
I will also say it didn't help that it was 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, that probably didn't help.
Yeah.
It really made it worse. If it was like a 2-hour movie or just shy under 2 hours, I probably wouldn't have hated that I had to waste so much time watching it. But it really made that movie drag so much worse.
I did like the opening credits cartoon, though. That was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was cool.
It was unique.
I had forgotten about that. I was just reminiscing on it.
I also saw another random movie that came out a couple years ago, or maybe a year ago, called Monkey Man. Have you seen that?
No.
No?
Can't say I have.
Never heard of it.
It's
No.
it's Dev Patel's directorial debut. He's the kid in like Slumdog Millionaire and The Green Knight. He's like the big Indian actor, basically.
Okay.
Like if you've seen that's what it is.
Mhm.
And it's his directorial debut. It's basically a slightly watered down John Wick movie. Instead of guns, it's hand-to-hand combat. So
That's kind of if it's done well, that sounds.
yeah, and I guess the movie had a lot of like financial constraints and like a really low budget, but it looks great. So he's called the Monkey Man because he throws boxing matches and he wears like a monkey mask so nobody knows who he is basically. But then he gets involved with like a crime syndicate and stuff like that. So he has to like do things for them in order to try not to give away like plot points, but
Yeah.
it's a 2-hour B-level John Wick movie. So I know it'd be something that Colby would enjoy at least because he's a big John Wick fan.
I am too.
So if I'm pretty sure it's streaming. I think I watched it on like Hulu or Amazon Prime, like one of those places.
It's just have Hulu and Disney Plus just merged?
Yeah, and ESPN.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So, but yeah, I watched it and it was pretty good. And then another movie that I watched, well, Kate wanted me to watch, was The Whale.
Oh, that Brendan Fraser movie.
The Brendan Fraser movie that takes place entirely in his apartment for like a week.
That looked just too depressing.
It's very depressing, but like the acting, I get why he won Best Actor. Like it's impressive what he put himself through and like what he gives off for 100 minutes. But
yeah, I saw a couple clips from it, and I was fairly interested, but not really. I'm sure if I had to watch it I would enjoy it, but like I don't know, it just seemed too sad for me.
It's pretty sad.
Yeah,
it's one of the saddest movies of the year that I've seen. Unless you've seen Iron Claw, that's about the saddest movie on planet Earth. Did you watch that, Colby?
That was a wrestling movie, right?
Yeah,
with Zac Efron and
that
Jeremy
movie.
Allen White.
Just like it starts so high, and then it just gets like worse and worse and worse all the way till the end. Like
I thought that movie was phenomenal. We all know my hatred for
Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah, that guy. I just think he's ugly.
He's very ugly. I don't know how people find
nothing against his acting. I just think he's really ugly.
Yeah,
hard to look at. Check.
But aside from that, I did think that movie was really good.
No, the movie's great, but it's just like
it's sad.
The fact that this really happened to a real family,
and they had to cut out one of the brothers.
Yeah, they cut out one of the brothers that died too. It's like crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's awful.
But the movie was really well done. But you have to like go into it knowing that you're getting 2.5 hours of like it does not end well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how we haven't even talked about it at all, but Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, did we not talk about that in our last one? No, we didn't. It was before I went to Alaska.
I was gonna say because we
You're right.
saw that.
Right. Oh, yeah, you were like in Alaska,
You're right.
right?
Yeah, we
as
discussed that.
The past 5 episodes, I've been teased about not being able to see the movie. I did see it. We got to Alaska. I found a theater near the hotel we were staying at. I booked an Uber and I booked 2 tickets, one for me, one for my sister. My sister decided not to go.
Kind of a sister is that?
You know,
I on you all the time, man.
I thought she would want to go just to get away from nothing wrong with our family, but we'd already been together for like a week. Like we were gonna spend another week together on a boat, so it was like, but so we got to our hotel like on the bus. So the structure of the trip, just for context, it was like 1 week bus like from port to port. And then we got on a cruise ship, and then we were on that for another week. So when we got to the place where we were staying that night that Deadpool and Wolverine came out, we got to the place at like 7:30, I think, maybe 7, and then my movie was at 8:30. So I had scheduled the Uber to pick me up at 8. And the rest of my family were going out to dinner. And when I had bought the tickets like maybe 3 days in advance, and when I asked my sister then, she had said no, but I got one anyway just because I thought she might change her mind. And it didn't make much of a difference. But so we got to the hotel. They all went out. I took like the fastest shower of my life. The Uber driver was there 25 minutes early, which I guess they're just
an Uber driver.
You know what? It's because we're in Alaska. I think that has something to do with
Nothing
it.
else to do.
Like a week and a half.
And so I hop in the car early, like may as well, right? And we're driving, and like we pull into the plaza where the movie theater is, and there's a McDonald's, and I hadn't eaten yet, and I was like, "Hey, excuse me," I'm like, "If you like, I'll pay you I'll pay you extra if you just stop here, or you want me to grab you something, I will. I just haven't eaten dinner," and the guy didn't speak English, and I was like, "No, stop here." And he stopped, and I just got out then, and then I just walked to the theater because it really wasn't that much of a stretch. But I had like my bag with me, so I ordered a burger and fries. I had it in my bag. I walked into the theater, checked my ticket, went and got in line and got a soda, and then I went into the theater and had McDonald's, my dinner in there.
Nice.
It was and I enjoyed the movie, so now we can talk about it.
I enjoyed it as well.
It was a very fun, as we all expected it to be.
I want to revisit it now that it's released, or is it? It's coming out in the next week or two.
I think it's on.
It's already been out.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Let me see where it's on.
Oh, okay. I saw like all the like advertising for coming to Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus, and that's where it's early on.
I think it's one of those movies that will hold up.
Yeah,
I agree. Yep.
I haven't rewatched it, but I feel like there was almost nothing wrong with that movie.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Obviously, like the villain wasn't super memorable.
Yeah, the Professor X of it all.
Yeah, I mean,
his sister.
She wasn't super exciting. It was just kind of a cookie cutter. I'm bad because I'm bad type of thing. But like aside from that, I think the movie itself was pretty good. I think it was pretty well done.
I liked what they did with Wade Wilson's character, where they didn't bring him into the MCU.
Yeah,
like they kept him where he was,
which I thought was more than what we needed.
Yeah, and when he was talking to Happy Hogan, I really thought it was going to be Kevin Feige. I really did for a short minute.
I'm glad it wasn't.
No, I am too, but I thought that's what they were going to do. I was expecting a Kevin Feige cameo.
Well, I heard that he almost got Robert Downey Jr. to like walk by in the background.
I heard this,
but
yeah.
he like couldn't make schedules work or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been pretty cool.
But like the cameos all hit. The Henry Cavill one.
Yeah, the Henry Cavill.
That was hilarious. We'll treat you so much better. Please come back. Stay. Yeah. Or the short Wolverine.
I think the Chris Evans one was
great. Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that was going to happen?
No clue.
Okay, I had read that was going to happen. So
the second I saw it was Chris Evans' face, it never even occurred to me that it was Captain America. I automatically thought of the
Human Torch. Okay.
Like, I feel like everybody that was around me everybody was like, oh, Captain America. And I was in my head, I was like, Captain America never crossed my mind. Never thought it was Captain America. Like I first thought in my head was Human Torch, because in my head I was like, there's no way they would do Captain America.
Yeah.
I didn't think they would do that.
Yeah, I had read somewhere that they were going to integrate the original Fantastic Four from 2005. So when I saw him there, I was like, all right, so that's actually, that was real. Cool, that's happening. But yeah.
Well, he's the most recognizable of the original four. Like
Jessica
Alba, would people be like, oh my God, that's Mrs. Fantastic? Like,
I don't think people really know who she is anymore.
Yeah. Like,
she
had to use Chris Evans.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was good.
I thought it was really good.
They kind of just, there was the storyline there at the end of Deadpool 2 where him and Vanessa were having a baby, and they kind of just didn't mention that at all. I don't know if it was implied she had a miscarriage or something, but I don't know where that.
I don't really think about the storylines of Deadpool too much.
I don't either, but I just remember that was such a big plot point of the second one. Because he went back, like, she was pregnant, then she died, then he brought her back, and they had like mentioned naming their kid whatever it was, Alfonso or something. I know that wasn't it, but it was something random.
Yeah.
Cher.
That's
what it was. They were gonna name their kid Cher.
Nice.
No, I thought it was really good. I think comedy.
I did too. Yeah.
I would say like 4 out of 5 jokes landed for the most part. There was a couple that were not super great, or I didn't understand the reference because it was just so obscure.
Right.
But I would say for the most part, the comedy landed, the music landed. I think Marvel has been getting a lot of crap for CGI lately. I know that this is technically it's not Fox anymore; it is Disney Marvel.
Yeah.
So I'd say that their CGI budget looks like it went up a little bit more, or they actually gave their CGI artists a little bit extra time to work on it, because it wasn't Doctor Strange 2 level CGI. So I think that was a big plus. I liked that what they used the TVA for. I was a little curious how they were going to use the TVA in this.
Yeah, I liked what they did with that there. Yeah, it wasn't too much of it.
They could have made it really, really bad. They could have made some poor decisions with the TVA.
I'm trying to think what else.
Yeah,
excuse me.
I thought it was fun. It was like it was nice that it wasn't really connected to anything, but it was connected to everything at the same time.
Yeah.
But you don't have to see it to go to the next movie, which is kind of nice. Like, it's almost standalone, but like it's not, because Wolverine and all the characters that exist in it. But like, it was definitely fun to see, like, the Channing Tatum of it all, Blade, like X-23.
Yeah, so
like that stuff was cool.
I think I had known that. I knew, because I had like listened to like another podcast that had talked about it, that Elektra was going to be in it, and X-23. Nobody knew Channing Tatum was going to be in that movie.
I thought he was one of the funniest things, and I like that they called out in the movie that nobody could understand him half the time.
Yeah. Every line's like, "I'm sorry, I don't know what you're saying. This better not be plot advancement."
Yeah, you couldn't understand what he was talking half the time, which was
or Blade.
Yeah,
the original Blade, which may be the only Blade.
Well, yeah, they canceled Blade.
Yeah, they just kind of took that one right off the plate. It should only be one.
They probably already knew it was canceled, so they.
I wonder if that was because like when Deadpool looks at us, it's because Mahershala Ali was still in the running at the time.
Yeah.
But that was funny. I enjoyed that very much.
Any other movies you guys have seen?
There has been a lot. I just can't think of them.
Oh, I saw Alien Romulus.
I saw that.
I
saw that in theaters. Did you see it in theaters or streaming?
I did. So I did a back-to-back showing that night. Me and my buddies went originally to go see Borderlands.
Oh, that's right.
It's that terrible movie. Didn't you guys? You like left the theater and then drove back?
Yeah. So Borderlands is based off a video game. Video game movies are notorious for being horrible, and so we kind of went into it with the expectations of it being pretty bad. And it was worse than bad. It was not redeemable in any sense of the name. However, we left the theater and we're about 10 minutes away, and I'm like, because the whole idea was they had never seen an IMAX movie. And I really wanted to bring them to go see IMAX. We get to the theater, and Borderlands was not playing in IMAX, and I was like, well, this makes sense because the movie's horrible. They're not going to waste an IMAX screen.
Yeah.
And so the only movie that was playing in IMAX was Alien, and our movie got out at like 9:30 or something, and we're driving. I'm like 10 minutes away from the theater, and I'm like, I'm like, we could just like turn around and go watch Alien. And to preface, this is the first Alien movie I've ever seen.
Okay.
I've seen like clips of some of the other ones. And I've seen like Alien versus Predator, but like this is the first actual Alien movie I've ever seen. But I was like, we should go see it because it's in IMAX. And they're like, I mean, what time's the next show? And we looked it up, and it was like 10 minutes from then. And I was like, the second we get back to the theater, the movie's going to start playing. So, we decided to go back and watch it. And I got to say, it was a really good movie. Awesome. Again, I haven't really seen much else of the other ones. I know this is I believe it's a sequel to the original or the second movie. I don't know where it falls in between there.
It falls somewhere in the middle of the timeline because there's Alien, Aliens, Alien 3. There's Alien versus Predator movies. There's the Alien Resurrection. It's somewhere in the middle. I don't know exactly where.
It was pretty good for what it was. I didn't see many reviews on it, so I don't know how the Alien fans fell on this movie. The ending of the movie was pretty weird. It was kind of twisted, and
that's what the Alien fans liked, though.
Yeah. So
nice.
And it was a twist I wasn't expecting, so they kind of got me with it.
Yeah.
Never could have predicted that.
You've piqued my interest, I will admit.
But I don't know, Steve, what are your thoughts on it?
So me and Kate went just because there was like nothing, like that week there was nothing in theaters, but like I like to try to go once a week if I can. And like Amelia went to a friend's house or slept over at my mom's house or whatever it was. So I was like, let's go see a movie. Alien Romulus is it because there's nothing else to see. I had known about Alien. I had seen a couple, like I've seen the Alien versus Predators movies because I like Predator, but like I've never really seen Alien by itself.
That's the exact same thing with me.
So I saw Romulus and I was like, this is a whole lot of fun. Like really good sci-fi movie with teenagers basically. And I enjoyed it, and the visuals were really good, and like some of the mechanics of the movie, like there's a point where they like get stuck so if you don't know anything about Alien, like alien blood is made out of acid, so like you can't just like kill an alien by shooting it or blowing it up because it'll like basically burn a hole through your ship and you'll die. So there's like special ways that they go about it, and like one of them was really cool. And they set it up like an hour ahead of time. And you're like, oh, that's a setup for something. And then it comes to fruition and you're like, whoa, that's really cool. Like, I'm glad they set that up and used it like accordingly in this really cool sequence. After seeing that, I watched Alien and Aliens, the first two. And the big debate, so I looked up like Alien podcasts online. So the big debate is whether Alien or Aliens is the best one. So
I've heard Aliens is better.
Alien is the original. Aliens is basically Alien 2. I thought Alien 2 was like way better. But
that's what
I can see where people love the original.
Were you surprised that there was a debate?
Well, because so the thing I've always heard is like Sigourney Weaver is like a badass, like such a cool character in this universe. And I watched the first one and I was like, she's not that cool. And then I watched the second one and I was like, oh, now I know why. Because in the first one it's called Alien. So there's one alien. And in the second one it's called Aliens because there's a bunch of aliens. So
that makes sense. Okay, checks out.
And there's an alien queen, and there's like she puts on like a mech suit, and they battle, and like it's just like a much better, more fun movie. But I can see where people like Alien just because it's so original, and so unique for the time, and it looks great, and it's creepy, and like you barely see the alien, but you know the alien's around like the whole time, and like it's just one of those like tense, really good sci-fi movies. But
Nice.
Alien 2 is definitely more my speed, just because it was like multiple aliens attacking from all directions, and I like the actors in the second one better, because like Bill Paxton is in the second one, and he's just great throughout. And like Sigourney Weaver is great in the first one, but she's better in the second one.
Nice.
So
That's good.
and Romulus was just really good because it's like essentially the same as Aliens 2, like Aliens, just with teenagers, and it's just like advanced technology on the screen, just because the visuals are a little updated, and you know they have weapons and stuff that are not what you see in the originals.
So, Steve, I have to ask, you had been taking a experiment with horror as a genre. Did you get to see Smile?
No, I still want
Smile
to.
too?
I listened to a podcast about it, and they basically said if you've seen one, then you're just seeing two is seeing the same thing over again.
Okay.
So I'd like to visit one at some point during the day.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm more of like
Nice, good clarification.
yeah. I'm still not
Trying to
like
find
jump scare horror, which I feel like Smile is. Like
Mhm.
I like more of like the psychological stuff.
The suspense.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I'm gonna navigate down that road a little bit more. I feel like I mean Heretic was a horror movie.
Yeah.
I'm more into like the stupid horror, and I say horror with quotes. You know, like Scream,
Yeah.
Halloween, Friday the 13th, that type of stuff. I like
Uh-huh.
those movies. Stuff like Conjuring and stuff like that. Nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
Who has that background noise?
Probably my house.
Okay.
Because she knows I'm doing something that takes volume, so she gets loud for no reason.
Oh, you said they weren't home. I was like, what is going on
Yeah.
at Kobe's house? Okay.
Fish.
Yeah. I gotta go eat relatively soon too.
No, you're
Yeah.
good. I think we're pretty much.
I think we're
wrapped up.
yeah.
running out of
Yeah.
stuff.
Sweet. So Taxi Driver
Cool.
next week or
Yes.
2 weeks or
That's the plan.
whenever
I would say
we can.
Well,
We also, I don't know if this is worth mentioning or not. We've been doing the podcast for over a year, and
Woohoo!
we've done maybe.
Sort of.
I don't think we've done 15 episodes.
No, this is
14.
14 I think, right?
Okay.
I think so.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I don't know.
that's
That's
better
just-
than one a month.
You're right. This is true.
That is true.
You know
Oh.
what? I'll for our next episode, I'll take a ranking of
Well,
what our biggest gaps were.
actually, we started in October
Yes,
a
we did.
year ago, and it's November, so that is one a month.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
So I'd say we're solid.
Yep.
So we're trying to go
Cool.
for like every other week, probably.
Yeah.
That would
Yes.
be
Like-
ideal.
In a perfect world, 2 a month would be great. If
Yeah.
we could double what we did last year, that would be
Mhm.
awesome.
Sounds
That would
good.
be great. Cool.
We'll see you next
All right.
soon
Oh.
for Taxi Driver.
That's
I
right.
don't want to promise
Call your-
anything, you know.
Call your taxis because we're coming soon.
So make sure you watch beforehand so you can know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Right. Join us.
1/3 of us are done.
The Tough Cast Blade Runner list.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you all for listening.
And we'll talk to you soon. Have a good
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Bye.